Good afternoon, Northwest, and welcome to the December edition of Husky Headlines. I'm Anaya Zaman.
And I'm Rylan Jara.
Hey Rylan, have you taken any cool classes here at Northwest?
Yeah, I did. I took Broadcast Tech 1 and that led me here today.
Cool. I talked to a student that had a really fun idea after taking a fun class at Northwest. Students at Northwest take many creative classes that can help them out in the real world or with a career. One student was inspired to start a clothing line after taking a graphic design class.
So over this past summer, I was just really bored and I didn't have a job. And I was just thinking, like, what's a way that I can start making some money while also, doing what I love? And I thought making clothes was the best way for me to do that.
Adhikari has lots to consider when deciding what to put on his website.
I think criticism is the most important part in my design because overall, I like to make these shirts because I want to improve my ability to design. And so if I'm able to take the criticism and the feedback and use that to make my designing ability stronger, then I'm able to overall make better shirts. I take what people say about my designs and I really, I try to do whatever I can to improve my designs and my t-shirts.
Adhikari gets lots of support and feedback from loved ones as well as customers.
I think what's kept me going is the support from my friends and family because my friends are always telling me, man, you got to design more shirts because you're really good at it. And so when I hear stuff like that, it makes me want to just keep designing and making shirts. And then my family is super supportive of my designs and my t-shirts, and they're probably the ones that actually got me going and wanting to start this t-shirt brand.
Also, I was very proud of him. So he was always into graphic design, and when he comes up with an idea like that, it was awesome. So I was happy, and I'm gonna support him.
I thought all the designs were really intricate and really cool, and there were a lot that I found super interesting, and I wanted to buy 4 at some point. They're really comfortable, you are super warm in them, the quality's really good, the print turns out really well, and they're super cheap, so I do highly recommend buying these.
Adhikari believes students should pursue whatever they want to.
Go for it is the biggest thing I have to say. If you have something that you want to do, and you're really passionate about it, just go for it and just try it out because you never know.
Who knows? Maybe the rest of us can take a class so inspiring that it leads us to success. Be sure to check out Entropy Apparel. This has been Anaya Zaman for Husky Headlines.
Wow, I just might have to get myself one of those shirts.
Yeah, they looked really good. How do you feel about our new morning routine here at Northwest?
I feel great. Let's go to Julia to see how other students feel about it.
47 states in the United States require the Pledge of Allegiance to be recited in public schools, with varying exemptions for students or staff to opt out. The state of Kansas requires the pledge to be recited but leaves oversight to the state's Board of Education.
So it is a state mandate to say the pledge. I think it's important that we consistently follow mandates. That's important that we do that, and it's also important that our students are learning from those things.
After talking to staff and administration throughout the Blue Valley District, the typical answer given is that the Pledge of Allegiance is just another required statute we follow every day. But for the student body at Northwest, the pledge means many different things.
For me personally, as the daughter of immigrant parents, it's never been a huge thing to me, and I'd always found it a little odd, but I feel like eventually as I became older, I feel like I gained more respect for it because there are still so many people that came before you and created this nation before you, so I feel like it makes sense to pledge.
To me, it's just one of those traditions that you do, because you're taught it to do it in elementary school, so on and so forth.
I think it's important because it's kind of a way to show respect and to the people who put their lives on the line every day so that you can enjoy your freedom.
To me, it's about honoring the people that have done so much to keep us safe in our country and us to have the freedoms that we have.
According to several people I've talked to, during and after the pandemic, the tradition of reciting the pledge fell out, but as of September this year, we began reciting it again.
When it was brought to our attention that we weren't being consistent, we just asked that we start thinking about ways that we incorporated the pledge into the school day. So it was really an effort to follow that statute.
There are more than 1,500 students at Northwest, and each one has their own personal response to the pledge being instated again this year.
I stand because I think it's overly disruptive to sit. I don't say it though.
I stand because everyone else does, but I think it would be right to stand. It's America.
I sit because, I don't know, I guess I haven't really done it in a while, and I just there's other things going on at the start of class, and no one really seems to stand up for it. Everyone just seems to just let it go by.
I sit because I don't feel like standing up. I don't really get why we should say it, honestly.
Clearly, there are varying opinions about the Pledge of Allegiance and whether or not students and staff should recite it at the beginning of the school day. This is Julia Haney for Husky Headlines.
Rylan, what do you know about the doghouse?
Not much. I know it's our school store. Eli tells us more about how it started.
When you walk into Blue Valley Northwest, the first thing you see is the doghouse, and for good reason. They offer a variety of high-quality apparel to represent the Huskies. What a lot of people don't know is how the doghouse changes every year, which is why it's important to learn about how the doghouse has grown.
So the doghouse has always been a class. It's called marketing management. So I have taught it all of my years of being here. So this is my 9th year at Northwest. You know, I came into a program that had already started, and the teacher before me did a fabulous job setting up the foundation, and we kept within kind of this similar pattern, and every year we've adjusted and pivoted a little bit to respond to even what the school needs, what's happening in society. Obviously, COVID had a huge impact on how we operate things, but then also just what works with our staff as well. But we have refined our interview and application process. We've made some adaptations to what the managers do. It's always changing. So how do you respond to running a business fluctuates from day to day.
Some of the biggest changes done to the doghouse are the ways they can sell their products.
So one big thing that in my 9 years of being here, we have added a different point of sale system. So we have an online store where people can buy online. And so even teaching the students how to run both an in-store where people are buying the items and taking it out the door that same moment, and also trying to maintain the inventory of the online side.
Today, the marketing students are in control of many of the changes made in the doghouse.
It's definitely changed a lot over the last 3 years. Every year it's almost a full new group of students because it's very senior heavy. So last year, I think coming into this year, we had 4 kids that were repeaters. And so it's just the dynamic changes completely every year. But along with that, I think Mrs. Trader is also very open to learning new ways to lead us. So even last year to this year, she's changed how she teaches. I definitely think the class this year is more diverse as far as social circles than ever.
Like Miss Trader said, she wasn't the founder of the doghouse. That would be the current Blue Valley High marketing teacher, Miss Pearies.
I started working in Northwest in 2003. So the idea for the doghouse came about actually with a couple students our first year of DECA. Blue Valley West at the time had a store that they had started, and I had 2 girls that wanted to bring that to Northwest. And so they worked really hard on putting together a business plan. And so we were like, hey, this is a pretty viable idea. This is pretty cool. So that's kind of where the idea originated. We started in the year of 2008, and we actually hired a class of students that really didn't know what they were getting into. There's so many fond memories of starting the doghouse at Northwest. It was such a really just important thing that we brought to the school, that students were running a business during their school day. They could, you know, get that job experience and that work-related experience in school. And I look at so many of the students that I had at Northwest, and even now, the skills that these kids are getting are really so much more managerial than would be just your, you know, traditional staff job that most high schoolers can get. So just that opportunity for students is something that I think that initial group would be really proud of, and all groups from there on out should be super proud of the work that they're doing and what they're bringing to their school and their community.
The doghouse is always changing, but one thing that never changes is that it always has new and stylish apparel for Northwest students. This is Eli Dunley for Husky Headlines.
I had no idea the doghouse started like that.
Neither did I. We now go to Nick for our next edition of H2 Versus.
Welcome back to another H2 Versus episode, where we put headline staff members up against some of our most talented students and teachers at Northwest. This month, our own H2 staff member, Kristen Wamba, takes on junior dance team member Addie White. This is H2 Versus Dancing.
I first started dancing when I was like 4 years old, and my mom taught me. I've been with the pack. This is my 3rd year, so I've been on it all 3 years I've been in high school. I really like dancing with the team. I find our practices really enjoyable, and I love performing at games and competing.
We had H2 staff member Christian Wamba learn the ropes about just what you have to do when you're a dancer with the minimal amount of experience he's had.
I haven't had a whole lot, but I've watched television and I've picked up on some of the dances, and I've also just choreographed what they're doing and danced along with them. I did karate, but I wouldn't say that's more of gymnastics, but you also have to be flexible and limber to do so.
Despite their varying backgrounds, both contestants believe they were proficient during their time together.
I thought it was fun to see someone else like try and do it, and he like picked it up really fast. I think he did pretty good for a soccer player, but I think he did great. It was fun.
I would say I did all right. I would say I could have done a little bit better, but I feel like as I keep dancing, I'll improve more. I think she did really good, like 10 times better than me.
White's coach of 2 years, Hannah Haworth, has noticed her talent and improvement.
I've seen Addie grow so much as a dancer and as a person. It's been so much fun to watch. So when I joined as coach, a lot of this team only had studio background, which is very different from dance team. And so I've seen her become more precise and apply cleans, but I've also seen her become a leader and really grow her wings in that regard. She's super positive. Everyone looks to her to make them smile and to encourage them. And so I think she's just like an unspoken leader on my team at this point, because she's so good at the dancing aspect, but also in the human aspect. I think dance is hard because there's so many elements to it. There's endurance, stamina, flexibility, strength training, and you all have to do all of that while you have a smile on your face. And so I don't think people realize how much strength goes into it. Like, we do a lot of running, a lot of weight training just to prepare for, 3 minutes on the stage.
The dance team provides a welcoming environment, and those who want to try out will be supported along their journey, fostering a sense of camaraderie and encouragement within the group.
I love it so much. It's a way that I can get out my emotions sometimes, and just anytime I'm stressed or happy, any emotion I feel, I just turn to dance.
I feel like everyone should learn how to dance and show off their cool moves and just shimmy it out.
I think what dancing teaches you is the useful part. So being able to listen and apply corrections quickly, and dancers are super disciplined and super reliable. So all those soft skills that they learn throughout their time at studio and dance team are the important parts.
Next time you're at a home event, make sure to be on the lookout for the pack dance team so their work doesn't go unnoticed. This is Nick Bogle for Husky Headlines.
Christian did a great job at dancing.
Yeah. Next, he gives us a look into the unified bowling team.
For some, athletics are about the sport itself. For others, it is about the relationships that athletes build with their peers. For those on the unified bowling team, it is about both these things and so much more.
Accomplishment for unified bowling is really giving kids with special needs a skill that they can use into their adulthood. Knowing how to bowl, you can bowl socially forever. So that's something that people get together and do, and not everything in life is on that playing field. So the best thing is giving them something that they can play on an even field that are their peers but maybe don't have the same disabilities that they have. Unified team is pretty near and dear to my heart because one of my children, my son, has a chromosome disorder. So he has been a member of Special Olympics as long as he could be in any sports. And unified bowling is a branch of Special Olympics that KSHA recognizes. So it's an opportunity for kids like my son to participate in a school activity that's KSHA endorsed.
Being a part of this team is about more than just knocking down some pins.
So the bowling team really is just a big family. It's kind of something you don't expect to get into. Last year was my first year on the team, and I just kind of fell into it.
The bowling team means to me a big group of people that you can always have fun with and then talk to no matter what. If you're having a bad day, they're there to lift you up and just you can have fun.
Unified bowlers and peers are establishing a new respect for one another and their talents.
When kids that haven't worked with folks with special needs work with those people and understand that they have more in common with them than they have different with them, and just watching the joy. Bowling is a super happy sport. It's really the only sport where you see your competitor do something great and you clap for them. So that's typical bowling. You add to that what it feels like to be in Special Olympics, and it is just a whole bunch of love for everybody there.
Favorite memory with the bowling team has to be going to state this year. We got to go and just spend the whole day together and just have a lot of laughs. We had a lot of fun.
A 4th place finish at regionals and a 17th place showing at state are minor awards compared to life lessons that these student athletes learn when they compete against each other. This is Christian Wamba for Husky Headlines.
For the rest of our sports, we now go to Game Day Gordo for this show's edition of HSN.
It's game day. It's game day. It's game day. It's game day.
What's up, Huskies? Game Day Gordo here with a very festive edition of HSN. Fall sports are done and winter break is right around the corner, and that can mean only one thing: more sports. We've got some recaps and previews to get into, so let's get right to it. First, for our fall sports. Last month, football met an unfortunate end on the road against a tough Gardner-Edgerton team. Though a negative end result, it capped off another memorable season for the squad, with 7 All-EKL and 3 All-State selections in Trey Ridley, Brock Heath, and Gavin Hoffman. For golf, senior Jackie Lee finished 6th overall at the state golf tournament, ending her high school career on a high note. On the pitch, the soccer team dropped a tough first-round playoff matchup in hurricane-level conditions against West. Girls volleyball lost in a sub-state battle with Olathe South, and girls tennis placed an impressive 4th overall at state, with 2 pairs of top 10 doubles finishers. For cross-country, the girls team placed 9th at state, and the boys team finished 4th at regionals, but did not participate in the state meet. I'd also like to give a big shout out to our cheer and dance teams, who finished 4th and 6th respectively at their state competitions. Needless to say, a very impressive fall season, and we're only halfway through the show. That being said, let's take a look at some of our winter sports. The boys swim team started their season off with a splash on December 5th, where they won in dominant fashion in a meet versus Southwest. This year, the team returns 7 former state qualifiers in Max Jasowitz, Ben Deerdorf, multiple-time record holder Micah Churchill, John Christensen, Namto Badmeyev, Sean Lee, and Bobby Guo. Next up today is basketball. Last week, the girls team competed in a tournament in DeSoto, where they picked up a big W against Lee's Summit North, finishing 1st in the tournament.
Does get the ball. There's Burvey. She doesn't have a lot of time. Burvey, and she makes it! Ella Burvey wins it!
Meanwhile, the boys team will be looking for a 3rd straight trip to the state final, where they claimed redemption over Wichita Heights last year. They started off with the Husky Invitational last weekend, where they went 3-0 against tough out-of-state opposition. As far as the roster, returning seniors Joey Mattioni, Jake Fritz, and Jackson Klein are joined by varsity newcomers Andrew Babaloa and Aiden McGivney, as well as returning junior guard Trevor Garlington. Boys wrestling opened their season on Friday, December 1st with a meet at Spring Hill, where they finished 6th out of 12. Their next action will be tomorrow at Blue Valley for tournament play. That's all for your December sports report, and remember to stay sporty, Northwest. Now over to Rylan, who tells us about Northwest's newest addition to the athletics department.
There has been a wide variety of sports teams introduced at Northwest over the years. This year, the new girls wrestling team is ready to dominate on the mats and represent the Huskies during this wrestling season. Let me introduce you to our school's first ever girls wrestling coach.
Well, I coach wrestling because I wrestled in high school and I played rugby in college. I know that I'll have an impact at Blue Valley Northwest. I'm excited for a new wrestling season of fresh girls. My plan for the girls wrestling team is to teach them the fundamentals, the basics of wrestling, and kind of allow them to hone in on their own crafts and their strengths and weaknesses. So I'm excited to see with setting the foundation there what I can do in a new environment, a new school with girls who might have wrestled before, but as of right now it seems like we have a lot of fresh faces to the sport.
While Hernandez will be coaching her first season as a Husky, most of her athletes are very new to the sport as well.
Have I ever wrestled before? No, I have not. This would be my first year, and I would say it is very exciting. What made me choose wrestling? I just always had a passion for it. I especially watched professional wrestling when I was younger, so the fact that I get to do it is a lot, it's just a passion of mine I like to do.
Hernandez came to Northwest from Girard High School, where she led the girls wrestling team to the state tournament. She also played rugby at Pitt State.
And I played rugby too, and that's a really hard sport, but wrestling, I'd say the conditioning is the hardest part. like being able to stay on the mat for as long as possible, not getting too winded, being able to still defend yourself. And sometimes, like at the beginning, you realize, like, okay, I do not have the stamina for this sport. So the conditioning really is like what sets this sport's intensity aside from other sports.
Even the first day of practice, it's very physical. It's very tiring, just even the warm-up. I've done other sports, but practice, like, it's very tiring.
I would say that strengthening for wrestling or like conditioning for it is very difficult compared to other sports I've played, like basketball or softball. My practices consist of, for one, stance formation, but we also do basic training, for instance, getting in proper stances, making sure that we are in the proper level for wrestling, and just pretty much basic things like that for now. We are supposed to be moving on to more offensive moves.
You can catch the new girls wrestling team in action at their next meet, December 14th, 4:30 p.m. at Olathe West.
Many groups at Northwest are helping out the community. We go to Ella for more information.
Community service is not really thought about as a daily task, but here at Northwest this holiday season, our clubs have been doing community service round the clock since the beginning of November.
I'm so excited about our current service projects because I think a lot of them serve our community, and even though a lot of students might not think so, there is a great need in our community for help. Families want to celebrate various holidays with different traditions, whether it's different types of food or different types of gifts, and we want them to be able to have those opportunities. And so I think there's a really great need this time of year, and I'm glad to see our students are trying to meet that.
Northwest is giving students many opportunities to give back to the community this season. Specifically, Stugo is doing a grab-and-go dinner partnership with the Blue Valley Food Pantry. And NHS has done the Blue Valley Food Drive, a clothing drive, and are pursuing holiday help this season.
I wanted to bring our community service a little closer to home. We're going to partner with the Blue Valley Food Pantry. They serve families in Johnson County, not just Blue Valley, and we're going to do a grab-and-go dinner night.
And I think it's just really amazing that our school can provide so much for the community. It's just giving cans of food, that actually has a big impact probably on a lot of people's lives.
And I think that's why service is so important. It's one of those times when you're out of the classroom, you're not working out of a textbook, but you're learning from your life experience. And so I think it's really important that all students participate in service.
Many people don't realize benefits of community service, but service can create happiness, gratefulness, and a stronger community as a whole.
If people in our community who are struggling, then we need to give a little bit more of ourselves to help them out. And that way, as a community, we can be stronger.
Personally, it makes me feel really great because knowing that I can change my community by just being able to help is really a good feeling inside. I may just seem like one person, but I can impact so many different people.
Helping people makes a difference, even if it's just a small difference. Our NHS food drive in November collected nearly 2,000 cans to help our Blue Valley Food Pantry.
See all the smiling faces, I think it's just really a great time, brings happiness that I'm giving to people and helping them.
Tons of opportunities out there, and it doesn't have to be anything fantastical, and you don't have to post about it on a social media. You can just go and help someone.
Sometimes it only takes one act of kindness and care to change a person's life. This is Ella Dirks for Husky Headlines.
What's your favorite holiday song?
Probably Elf singing in the shower with his girlfriend.
My favorite holiday song is Feliz Navidad.
I'd probably have to say Last Christmas.
Feliz Navidad. It's very catchy.
Last Christmas. All I Want for Christmas by Mariah Carey.
My favorite holiday song is Mary Did You Know?
I'd have to say Jingle Bells.
Then that Christmas song from Paul McCartney, Simply Having a Wonderful Christmas Time. It's terrible.
So good.
Stop it. End it.
Okay.
During the holidays, many families think about adopting a new pet.
We go to Gordon for more information.
Wayside Waifs is Kansas City's largest no-kill animal shelter. Though a known quantity in the area, most would think of Wayside solely as an adoption center. There's much more to it than meets the eye.
So at Wayside Waifs, we have so many different departments that have to work together. So our admissions team is the one that intakes animals, whether it's through owner surrender or stray animals. Every animal goes to our vet clinic. We have a foster department if there's any animals like Blue who need some extra loving care outside of the shelter, if they're too young, things like that. Everyone really works together to make sure these animals are getting adopted.
This process would be nearly impossible without outside help. Fostering and volunteering are vital for Wayside Waifs to function. Samantha Wilson, a sophomore at BV&W, volunteers regularly at Wayside.
So as a pet socializer, I literally just interact with the cats. I basically go in, I sign in, and then I get to go to whatever cat I choose. They have like a specific order for it, and you go to the cat, you can like open up the kennel, you can pet them, you can play with them, you can, like if it's in a room, you can literally just have them lay on your lap and just chill.
Though seemingly small, jobs like these help to keep things running smoothly at the facility.
Sign up to volunteer. We love dog walkers, cat socializers. We need help with the more mundane tasks, but they're crucial, like folding laundry, creating enrichment for animals, things like that.
It's really important for the cats to be able to be socialized, so it prepares them for whenever they do get to their forever home. It prepares them, they kind of get to socialize with the people already. And then also, while they're there, it helps like get rid of some of the stress.
Similarly to other shelters, Wayside has unfortunately felt the pressure of lower adoption numbers.
So across the country, we are seeing a national trend of shelters are really, really full, adoption numbers are down. So really what we turn to is help from the community. Foster families are really, really important.
Fostering can be a great experience for families and is important for the wellness of the animals.
When the dog's or cat's length of stay increases, naturally their stress increases. So like Blue here, he is really, really stressed in the shelter. So I took him home for foster just to give him a break, you know, but we really, really rely on volunteers and help.
Wayside Waifs offers lots of opportunities to help, including donations and wish list items. They also offer in-person tours of the 70,000 square foot facility, all of which is available on their website.
If you've never come out and visit, please come visit us. We can give tours, we can show you around. We'd love to see you.
Please come up and visit, please volunteer, it is so much fun.
And of course, you can always consider adopting, so Wayside Waifs can continue
preparing pets and people for the bond of their lives.
This is Gordon Alcock for Husky Headlines.
We hope you enjoyed watching this month's edition of Husky Headlines. Have a good day, Northwest.
Happy holidays.